Jordan Davis, thank you so much for doing the Stripe Show podcast. Good swing. Let's break it down. I recognize this course. A little golf course up in Georgia, I believe. You can see here you're aiming a little left here on the 11th. Usually we aim left because the ball wants to curve back to the right. And I think your ball's curving back to the right because you're coming down a little steep. Watch this club shaft. Watch the shaft relative to the left arm. See it on that left forearm there? Ideally, if we came down a little shallower, it'd be kind of back in here. Shallower back behind you, and then you could hit it a little more from the inside. I think you come down steep because that face is a little open. And so the chain reaction is let's aim a little more to the right. Let's feel a little closed, but let's go ahead and get the club face a little more closed going back. See the toe here? It's pointing up. I want to get the toe a little more down. And I also would like to see you at the top of the swing, take that right elbow and pinch the left just a little. Let that right elbow pinch, and then let that left wrist flatten out a little bit. It'll flex a bit. You'd even make your left hand grip a touch stronger. And if you did that, managing that face going back halfway, and then at the top, pinching the right elbow, kind of flattening out the left wrist, that face angle, instead of being here, would be a little more, say, here. All right, so it'd be a little bit more closed. And I think we should get it just a touch more closed, right elbow pinch in the left, and then from there you could swing a little bit more along your body line. Because remember, you wouldn't be aiming to the left, you'd be aiming a little more to the right. And with that face a little bit more shut, you could swing down back in here from the inside and get that ball to start to the right and draw to the left. And I know that's a lot and that's quick, but that would be something to consider to put a little more distance on that driver. Good stuff. Thank you again, Stripe Show Podcasts. Jordan Davis.
All right, thanks Jordan Davis for joining us on the Stripe Show podcast. I wanted to elaborate on the analysis that I provided. And we looked at your swing and we saw that you were aiming to the left some and playing that fade. And that's something that I see a lot. Swings that are kind of upright in nature. They come down a little steep and then they just kind of work it across to the left. And usually when you see that, you'll see a player kind of get that high handle where the pelvis will come in. That gets the face looking a little to the right. So the path left, face right, and we hit that fade. From a development standpoint, it would probably benefit you if you wanted to kind of work it a little bit the other way, say a little bit of a draw and learn some of the components that go with this. So let's get into something that I call Operation Baby Draw, which is a training program that I have on my website, TravisFultongolf.com. It's probably the most popular training program because I see a lot of swings just like yours, that players aim left, upright in nature, across this way, and then the ball fading off to the right. So, I got an iron here, 8-iron, aiming left, and then kind of across this way. And that club face, it's fading a little bit, but that club face happened to square up a little bit, caught it a little towards the toe, and so it didn't fade back as much. And that's a miss that we can get, is a pull or even a toe strike because of that upright nature and across to the left. The first thing that I'm gonna have you do is I'm gonna have you aim more to the right, all right? And I know that's probably gonna be like, wait a minute, you're probably hitting somewhere, you're over fading it to the right, and so it's like, well, why would I wanna aim more to the right if I maybe tend to miss it to the right? But it's the first step to learning how to hit a little bit of a draw. So face, pretty square, and I'm gonna have you, kind of feel like the right side pulls back a little bit. I'm gonna have you feel the spine tilt to the right a little bit. I'm gonna have you feel like the chest is looking maybe a little more back here. So we're starting to see a little more of this left forearm. And when I look out there, I definitely feel like I'm aiming more up the right side. The second thing is that ball position. I would make sure the ball position is pretty conservative forward. I wouldn't be playing it way up. This is an 8-iron, I'd play it just slightly forward of center. The driver would be up towards that left heel. But with the driver, one of the things you want to be careful with is you want to be careful when you get to the driver is that you don't face that forward ball position. And I could see that a little bit on your T-ball 11 at Augusta, is the ball was up, but it looked like you were kind of gravitating up to it And when you do that, we tend to aim left. So as that ball moves forward, I would make sure that you tilt and then you feel like you're a little more closed back here. Really, really important, especially with that driver, to feel like, you know, you're kind of up the right-hand side. Now, from there, I couldn't see the grip in the video provided. I would make sure though, with your grip, that your left hand's a little on top, left thumb to the right hand to the side and covers it, both of those V's maybe towards your right ear. Pretty neutral grip. Just be careful you're not too weak. I'd make sure it's a little to the right and we should be good to go. Now, in the swing, the first step here is I want to get the club face more closed. Okay, you had the club face rotating a little bit more open. You could see the toe kind of riding a little more toe up. At the top of the swing, maybe a little bit of a toe hang. I want to get that face to be a little bit more closed. And the first step to doing that is the grip, making sure it's a little to the right. And then from there, getting that toe to look a little bit more down. You can see the angle of the face kind of more parallel to the spine. I like the feeling of the left hand, the knuckles kind of looking down to the ground, where the knuckles are looking a little more this way rather than the knuckles rotating up to the sky. So I'd feel a little more knuckles down. I'd feel the hand path kind of working in, kind of around that hip, toe more down, face looking down. And then from there, as you continue to turn, I'd let that left arm kind of round out. Okay, so it kind of rounds out, and then I'd get a little pinch in that elbow if you can. I try to get a little external rotation in the shoulder and not letting that elbow kind of kick out this way. Okay, not the end of the world, still save it and bring it back from the inside. But I'm gonna encourage you from here, as you turn, to feel the elbow kind of pinch a little and feel the left wrist flatten out. Feel the left wrist flex a little bit. I like the idea of the bottom three fingers kind of curling under, a little bit of an under kind of feel this way. And you can see how the face changes when I do that. I want to get the club face looking a little more back towards the camera, maybe even a little up towards the sky. That's going to get the face more shut. Okay, so with that grip, that face looking here, then a little pinch in the right elbow, kind of curling that left. You can see that club face now is in a definite stronger position. Okay, so a little external here, a little curl, flexing that lead wrist, taking some of that extension out. Club face is going to be much more dynamic. Now what happens is the club face now not being kind of borderline open, being a little more shut. If you aim left with that club face and you hit it, you're just going to be hitting poles. It feels good, but you're just going to be hitting poles. Okay, so what I would do now is I would start taking your swing direction, your feeling of the club here, and swinging now a little more along your body line. Okay, and that makes a little bit more sense now because the club face is better prepared. Right, that club face gets a little open, borderline open. You know, we start getting some of those. It makes sense. Aim left, swing over there, you can get around. Club face more dynamic now, more shut. Aim a little right, kind of working it around me. Elbows pinching, left wrist curling, face is stronger. Now I can feel like that club kind of starts working a little more back in here behind me and exiting a little bit more, say, out in front this way. I kind of like the idea of this kind of overhand in tennis feel. You know, it's like, feels like it's this way. That makes sense with that face there. And now that path starts working a little bit more to the right with that face more shut. And now I'm starting to get a little bit of a push draw, right? It feels like I can kind of push it, face is there, closing, get a little bit of a draw. All right, so that's what I would do. It's a development piece that I do all the time. Operation Baby Draw, it's a great program. For those watching, go to TravisFultonGolf.com. It'll be the best $19.99 you'll ever spend in learning how to develop the components and the order of kind of how you train to get that more in to out path. But before doing that, the things you have to do at address, the grip, the face, and I think even with you, a little bit of this external rotation, left wrist preparation, and then that really sets the stage for this kind of low to high overhand and tennis feel where you start achieving a push draw. Jordan Davis, Thank you for joining the Stripe Show podcast. Big fan. Hope that helps.